I became a real estate agent in 2007. I was waiting tables at a high-end steakhouse in Washington, D.C. and scooping butters at Eagle Island, which is where we would get ready for the shift. And Billy shouted over to me, say, "Hey, Rochon, you ever consider about becoming a real estate agent?" And because he knew that I was seeking to do something in business. And at the time I had not. And so I looked up, found out I could do about 60 hours of work and about $2,000 and I get my real estate license. So I saw that as an opportunity, and that was my venture into real estate sales. I think branding to me means to have an identity that is known through with the right people. And so, we don't know who those right people are going to be. As real estate agents, those right people could be geographic. They could be somebody in a neighborhood. They could be sociographic, known within a community or with an extended, group of people. But ultimately, brand to me is having an identity. If you consider like Coca-Cola as one of the worldwide brands, there's probably very few places in the world that you can go to that you can't find some Coca-Cola paraphernalia. And when you think of cola, well, you're only going to think of two, and Coke is probably going to be the first one. And so that's an example of an extreme brand. And as real estate agents, we have to consider to take it in smaller doses until we get that same budget as Coke. For me, my brand identity, I hope, and this is a subjective, evaluation, right? Because it's gonna, if I talk to Fraser, or if I talk to Bob and Sue, whoever I'm talking to about what does Greetings Virginia mean to you, that's the my brand of my real estate sales team. Well, hopefully they at least know it, okay? And then they're gonna say, what does that mean to me, right? And so for me, the identity that I intend to convey is one of experience and one of knowledge. So that when people think about real estate sales in the DMV area and they say, well, who should I talk to that's going to know the answer to that question? That my company, my brand, which is Greetings Virginia, and my brand, which is my name, Dan Rochon, comes to somebody's mind, right? Because that's something that I was talking to an agent just the other day about branding, about do you brand your brand, Greetings Virginia in this case, or do you brand your name, Dan Rochon in this case? And I think you sort of have to do both, and when people think of you as a person as the go-to for whatever it is that you want them to think of you as, or they think of your brand as the company, either way, you're still going to get them to, to contact you when there's a need. Maybe if there was a limiting belief, it might be really recessed in the dark corners of my cranium that would come up with something along the lines that I'm not worthy. And so, like, who am I to be this person that can say, you should follow me, or you should listen to me, or I have advice to be able to give to you, because I'm no better than anybody else that I'm talking to, and they're no better than me. And so then I think as I think through the, to actually answer your question appropriately, I think that would definitely be a limiting belief that I had. What I've come to find, see, not so smart about my talking. What I've come to find is the fact that we all have a unique God-given skill set, and it's completely appropriate for me to embrace my skills as it is everybody in the world, in the planet. And I think it's completely appropriate for me to be an expert in real estate sales, for me to be an expert in the market, to understand the nuances of a transaction and what can go wrong, and what, how to keep things going right, and how to keep all the parties aligned, and to take somebody, a seller who's freaking out because they got a lowball offer, and meeting them where they're at and being able to bring them to where they need to be able to make a smart decision. And I think it's completely appropriate. So I got comfortable with that because there's a whole lot of things in this world that I suck at doing. And, so I'm okay with being good at a couple of things. Simplicity. So the benefits that I have received as a result of my consistency with branding has been simplicity. Because once you get a thought of here's how we're going to do this, and here's the methodology that I'm going to embrace to be able to do something, then the only limiting factor at that point is just taking action. So for example, one of the initiatives that we're doing towards the tail end of this year, meaning like right now, because we're in the tail end of this year, is we are doing 7 days of YouTube posts on 2 different channels. One for real estate agents to help them achieve their goals, to show them how top producing salespeople can easily convert buyers and sellers to hire them. And the second for home sellers and home buyers who are looking to understand how living in Northern Virginia, what it's like to live in Northern Virginia. What's the, to play, to work, to commute, to everything. And so that's an initiative that we're taking to say, okay, we're going to do 7 days of content on 2 different channels. Well, once we identify this is what we're going to do to make this work, now it's simple. Now I don't have to put any more thought into how to do it. Now I just need to do it. And so being committed to a brand in that sense has allowed for my business to be, much easier. I was in a Starbucks in Falls Church about, and this has happened to me. I could come up with a couple different stories like this, but I was in a Starbucks about maybe 5 weeks ago, and I'm just sort of zoning out, minding my own business and, just really just daydreaming. And the person in front of the person in front of me looked back and he's like, Dan! I was like, hey! And had recognized me as a part of my initiative and my branding. But the interesting thing was I had no idea who this person was, right? I still don't know who he was, right? I struck up a really kind conversation with him. And in that conversation, I wasn't able to figure it out because I didn't think it was appropriate for me to be like, yeah, who are you, right? And so I would say that was a direct benefit from something. There's some way or another, somebody who I wasn't quite sure who they were knew who I was, which was a direct benefit from some sort of branding. I don't know what that branding was. And I don't know if it was a real estate agent or if it was a consumer or whoever it was, because I do branding for both. But either way, it was somebody that recognized me, and I thought that was pretty cool. And that's happened to me, quite a few times, actually. I'll give you 2 pieces of advice. First of all, if you're not comfortable with going onto YouTube and doing a video because you're afraid that I don't like the way that I sound or feel or look, I have a little bit of a little secret to tell you. That's how you sound and feel and look. Okay, right? So you may consider getting comfortable with that because that's who you are, right? So it's cool, right? And so the first thing is to just be comfortable and say no one's judging you. Right. No one even has the time to judge you, by the way, because they're too damn busy worried about what other people are judging them as. Right. So that's the first piece. And the second piece is to do it consistently. It's better to do it, now maybe 7 days a week, maybe too much for somebody, but let's say 1 day a week, 2 days a week. It's better to do it 1 day a week, every single week, 52 weeks of the year, than to do it sporadically. It's about time on task. It really, truly is. And just have faith. Have a faith to sit there and say, at some point, this will pay dividends. It won't be today if you're starting today. It won't be tomorrow if you're starting today. At some point, you'll be standing at Starbucks and some stranger will come up and recognize you and call your name out. And you'll be like, huh, that was pretty cool. Right? Now, did it turn into direct business? No, not that instance, but other instances have. Okay. And so at some point, you start getting dividends from your efforts through time.